Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now today, a subject I always enjoy talking about, and that is tweed. You'll notice I'm wearing one of my favourite blue tweed jackets here today. And I'm going to answer a question from a viewer who's a little bit concerned about the way he is integrating tweed into his sartorial collection of clothing. And the question comes from Tweedy James, who asks a question which takes a bit of reflection, but actually, when it comes to tweed, I'm all over it as an ambassador of its qualities in the modern world. Because as we all know, tweed is a sort of rough, woven, woolen fabric known for its durability, and originally it came into being as workwear and then country pursuits clothing way back, way over a century ago now, and it's become firmly ensconced in the wardrobes of most intentionally well-dressed men. None more so than James Bond, of course, who over the years, the characters who portrayed Bond have been decked out in tweed from time to time, when I think the costumiers have tried to give the impression of Bond of being the sort of chap who is capable, he's rugged, he's an outdoor sort of guy. And tweed puts that across. But let me talk to you about the question that Tweedy James has faced in his life, and I get it. I understand what he's saying. So, firstly, I've been slowly building a wardrobe of heritage-inspired menswear, namely tweed jackets, heavy brogues, woolen trousers, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm veering too far into costume territory. How do you recommend keeping vintage and country style clothing grounded and wearable in an urban setting? The last thing I want to do is look like I've just stumbled off the set of Downton Abbey. And having recently seen the last of the Downton Abbey trilogy of movies, I get what you take. I get the meaning that you're trying to put across there, because they do kind of give this impression of somebody perhaps trapped a century ago, maybe, large country houses, or somebody shooting grouse in the Highlands. That's the kind of image that comes across. Well, first of all, let me say, James, I'm going to salute you right here, right now, because you're already integrating tweed into your wardrobe, which means you've got some style as a gentleman, and certainly you know where we're going. And the very fact that you've asked the question, how do I bring tweed into the wardrobe without looking too much, lets me know that you are somebody who agrees with the concept which I often champion here, which is being intentionally well-dressed. We're dressing with thought behind our clothing. We're not dressing to a formula. We're not dressing to keep up with styles or trends. We're dressing for a good reason. And I think I understand entirely what you mean. It can be so easy to overcook it when it comes to the tweed, and all of a sudden you do look as if you're in cosplay, that you're portraying a character from some period movie which isn't going to fit well into the modern world. However, you will be pleased to know that I have got some suggestions for you today, short and sweet today, I think, which will help you look grounded, help those clothes that you've enjoyed buying look wearable. And as I think personally, tweed is a very staple in my wardrobe from kind of October onwards, because its qualities, it is so practical for the gentleman who spends time outdoors. So let's crack on and talk about what I think, or how I think you can integrate tweed into your collection. And the first thing I would say is you want to anchor those heritage tweed pieces from your wardrobe with modern classics. And that's the easiest way to bring it in without it looking weird or strange, or that you're trying to dress as if you're on the set of, as you say, Downton Abbey. And my suggestion for you is this: take one flagship item. So in most cases for a gentleman, it's going to be the jacket, isn't it? So you're going to talk about a tweed jacket of some kind. And most tweeds are kind of anchored with the texture and the pattern of the material, and also the colours in which they are presented for us. So in most cases, and the one I'm wearing today is somewhat unusual, tweed jackets tend to be in more rustic, more earthen tones. So we're talking greens, we're talking browns, often with window pane patterns or lines which make them interesting to look at. Now, they're very obviously a tweed jacket. If you start adding other items, costume pieces, period pieces, traditional pieces in with it as well, you run the risk of indeed looking like a character from a movie. So what am I saying by that? I'm saying wear a tweed jacket, but keep it to one heritage item per outfit. Now, if you were to wear your tweed jacket, maybe with a tweed waistcoat underneath, or maybe you're going through a full suit, you know, jacket, waistcoat and trousers, you're very firmly in the category of, I'm pinning my colours to the mast of being this tweedy guy, right? And it's maybe tipping you over into something which isn't contemporary in the world in which you inhabit. So keep your tweed jacket, but leave it to one item, tweed jacket only. Pair that with a nice cotton shirt, maybe white, maybe light blue. The one I'm wearing is a very light coloured pink, but it probably comes across as white on camera. You know, a modern tie. Don't go down the country style ties and have flights of birds on it. Keep it contemporary, a nice simple block colour or something with a repeating geometric pattern. When it comes to the trousers, right, if you want to keep tweed contemporary, marry it up with, I'm wearing a pair of khaki chinos right now. So I've got nice contrast, upper and lower of my outfit, looks good. It doesn't look like I'm overblowing it. I'm not looking like a movie character. And when it comes to the footwear, I think there's very little better than brogues, which go with your sort of country look. But a nice pair of brogues in a nice brown colour or a burgundy colour, or if you want to go a little more casual, I'm going to say a suede chukka boot. Perfect with a tweed jacket, keeps you firmly grounded in the contemporary world without overblowing it and looking like you're heading off to appear in some TV adaptation of a Charlotte Bronte book. Now, my next tip in answer to Tweedy James's question here is really avoid over-romanticising the past in your wardrobe, because you're absolutely right, there is a seductive charm to dressing like those traditional gentlemen who are out on a shoot in Norfolk. You know, you're trying to bag a brace of pheasant for lunch, and you can easily get drawn into that mindset in the way that you're dressing yourself. However, unless you're actually out on a hunt in Norfolk, you're dressed inappropriately, right? If you're travelling on the London Tube in July, being dressed in +4s, maybe, you know, some sort of flat cap and the heavy brogues with, you know, the tweed jacket, a Norfolk shooting jacket, it's not going to cut it. You are going to look like some strange, out of context character. And the reality of the fact is, you've always got to dress for the situation that you are facing in life. Now, while tweed is easily wearable across a variety of situations you're going to face in life. I mean, I'm shortly going to the dentist and I'm going to go exactly dressed like this. This nice tweed jacket, shirt, tie, chinos, and I'll be wearing a pair of Trickers brogues, right? But it's fine, because that's entirely within the time of year and the context in which I'm wearing it. But if it was any other time of year, and I wasn't, you know, if I was maybe heading out into the middle of the city, going to an important meeting, it's going to be out of context. It's not going to be normal enough. No, I do always say, dress for yourself. Don't dress for those around you. Wear what you feel brings out the best in you. And that's entirely what I'm always going to say. But it's always got to be in context with your environment. So whilst it's wonderful to, you know, curate a sort of wardrobe of clothing which has a nod to a bygone era because of the classic charm associated with that era, overblowing it by wearing things like +4s or a deerstalker hat, whilst it's a wonderful nod to your eccentric mindset and it might make you feel wonderful, it is also going to make people think, and I'll say this up front, people think, why is this man dressing like that when it's so clearly inappropriate for the life that he's leading and the situation that he's in now? So dress for the environment. If you have a wonderful Norfolk shooting jacket, and I applaud you if you do, probably wearing it on the tube isn't going to wash. But wearing it in a lovely country pub in October, roaring fire, nice beer, perfect. Do you see what I mean? Horses for courses. Choose your races and dress accordingly for those situations. Now, my final tip for integrating tweed into a contemporary man's everyday wardrobe is a simple one, and it applies to pretty much everything. Focus on the fit and not the flare of your clothing. And I can't emphasize this enough. It is the fit of your clothing which will make it look like day-to-day attire rather than costume wear, that you're, some sort of uniform that you're wearing because you're trying to show the world that you are a debonair and stylish fellow. Because the fit, in all cases, makes all the difference. You might have quite a vintage inspired chalk stripe double-breasted jacket. And yes, you might look like a spiv from the 1930s. But if it's well tailored to fit you, right? If it fits you sharply, if it accentuates the contours of your body and does all the things that a lovely suit should, regardless if it was made in the 1930s and worn in the 2020s, it's still going to look appropriate on you, because a good suit made 100 years ago is still a good suit right now, because it fits your body and it looks good, and it will give you all of the confidence that you need to wear it around in normal life. And it's so much more stylish anyway than the alternatives, because what are other guys wearing today? They are wearing hoodies, they are wearing sweatpants, they are wearing training shoes, or even worse, Crocs, the devil's footwear. And what are they doing? They're not even making an effort. So even if you're wearing something which is vintage inspired, like that lovely tweed jacket you have, which might have decades under its belt, it's still so much more stylish than what I see out there on the streets. But focus on the tailoring. You might have bought it inexpensively from an online auction platform or even a thrift store. So you've probably entered that tweed garment into your collection cheaper than it should have been. So spend that little bit of residual saving on having it tailored to fit you well, because believe me, a nicely tailored jacket which fits in the sleeve, shows a little bit of the shirt cuff, it doesn't have any collar gaps because it fits you fine around the shoulders, doesn't pull tightly around your gut when you've got it buttoned up. It's going to make you look like $1 million. It's going to make people give you sideways glances because they're thinking, who's this sharply dressed man? So focus on the fit, not the flair. And equally, that lovely suit or tweed jacket you have, if it's sagging and baggy or over tight, it's going to do you no favors at all. It's worse than wearing the sweatshirt. So spend the money, have the garments tailored. You will reap the reward over the long term. So there we go, Tweedy James. Now I know what some of you might be thinking there. You're thinking to yourselves, good God, is it worth all the effort just to wear, a kind of old-fashioned jacket, which is rarely seen in modern society today, often except on older gentlemen who probably got those jackets decades ago? And I would say, yes, it is, because let me just remind you, a stylish silhouette is timeless, right? You look at images of the greats of yesteryear, the men who we look back to for inspiration in the way that they dressed. And I'm going to use the usual expressions of people like Cary Grant, Sean Connery, David Niven, my classic favourite. And you look at them in images from 50, 60 years ago, and they still look relevant. And that's because they dressed in a way in which their silhouette was timeless. And the tweed jacket has a part to play in all of that, because it has spanned over a century, 150 whatever years right now. It's still going to be timeless and elegant and be providing wonderfully sharp silhouettes for gentlemen in many years to come. Dress with true intention, and your tweed jacket has a big part to play in your stylish appearance going forward. And don't forget, it's not just about dressing for other people. Dress for yourself. Remember, when you put clothes on which make you feel good, remember that? In clothes cognition, you're going to feel more confident. You're going to feel more capable. You are going to face this world eye to eye, take it on, and come out the other side as the winner, because you've curated clothing which makes you feel good, and the tweed jacket is very much a part of that. Now, if you'd like to benefit from some of my advice and support in the way that Tweedy James has, drop me a question. Right? If you want my avuncular advice, as if I was Uncle Ash, giving you some tips and nudges in the direction of your own sartorial journey. Email is on the screen now. send it in. Love to hear from you. Might even make a video if I can, just like I have today, to point you in the right direction. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed the video, like it, click that thumbs up button and subscribe to see more just like this. And if you want to see more of my content, which is exclusive purely to my patrons, the link to my Patreon page is in the description box below this video. There are tiers there which are absolutely free. You don't even have to pay, but you will join me on my journey to Chap Nirvana and we'll go on that path together. So until the next time we meet, take care, and I'll see you all very soon.